Michael Carrick arrives at Manchester United today and he leads his first training session with the squad. Who was involved? Well, I'll tell you, Ahmad and Boomer are back and they are involved. They will be back for the Manchester derby. Manchester United eye a new midfield target. Manchester United could be forcing Ugarte out like they did before and like they did with Nana. They've already decided to move on past Ugarte. Nagelsmann, he's interested in the Man United job. He's keeping an eye on the Man United job. He's watching the Man United job. Could we go Nagelsmann's way with the Liverpool links? Glasner, United don't want him anymore. A fan protest coming up and updates on Barcelona and Marcus Rashford. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute late-night Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news in 10 minutes for you guys. Let's start with some training pictures. Carrick is in training, Evans is in training, everyone looks happy, everyone is smiling, stuff you love to see, but even more, they're back. There's a lot of question about what's going to happen now that Carrick's in, because Carrick uses touchline wingers, and they're not touchline wingers, and none of them play on the left. I would prefer Mbouma on the left. I think he looks more comfortable with the angles, and Ahmed on the right. I don't know if Carrick's system is having touchline wingers is the way, but I think Carrick is smart enough to adapt and find the strengths out of these guys. But I am so glad they're back, because seeing below get the ball every time we have a good chance, I just think if Ahmad was there, we're cooking. Who else was involved in training? Habib Begonai, part of the training group today for Michael Carrick's first session, been recalled by Newport County after minutes dwindled and his options are being explored for another loan. I don't think he will get any minutes. He's just part of the training session. Jack and Tyler Fletcher in the first team group along with Ahmad and Mbumo. Shea Lacey was also part of the first team training group, but he obviously won't play because he's suspended. But I don't think we'll really see any of the youngsters play in the game against Manchester City now that Mbumo and Ahmad are back. Talking of youngsters, Manchester United eyeing a new midfield target. We've got Sekou Kone, we've got Orozco coming in, and we're eyeing another top youngster that again is being compared to Moises Caicedo. Every top midfielder from South America, I feel like is being compared to Moises Caicedo now. But United have made direct contact with LDU over a potential deal for Edison Castillo. The asking price is 6.4 million euros, which is about just over £5 million. And United are the most interested of Premier League clubs. He will not be able to join until the 18th of December, so he wouldn't be able to join us until a year's time next January because of his Asian rules. But United risk being overtaken if Barcelona move quickly. Manchester United, we know one thing they've done quite well, and one bit of business they actually like to do, because they don't like to do any other business in January, is young players. We signed Aiden Heaven for about $1 million last January. What a bargain! We might bring this guy in like we brought in Diego Leon for a year's time. Look, if we sign this guy, I'm happy, but I want people for the here. I want people for the now. That midfield, if he can't play now, I'm kind of like, can we get someone that can play now? Because that midfield is struggling. Look, I'm not going to act like I watch Edison Castillo, but I saw this tweet from Rising Gems, and they probably know more than me. I know we already have Sekou Kone and Orozco joining next summer, but this Edison Castillo guy is really impressing me. He's got everything it takes to become an elite defensive midfielder. His stocks will rise soon, and big clubs will be fighting over his signature. So that's one to keep an eye on. But let's talk about Ugarte. Manchester United identified 20 million start as replacement for midfielder who will definitely leave in January. Now, I don't think anyone is leaving in January. I don't think anyone is going anywhere, but I think Ugarte will definitely leave in the summer. This was said via One Football that reports claim Ugarte could leave with Galatasaray pushing for a loan option. We were thin in midfield when we played in midfield 2. We're even thinner in midfield because we now play in midfield 3. Unless we bring someone in, there is no way Ugarte is going. I know Ineos open to loaning out Ugarte to get his price tag up, and then if we can get Ugarte's price tag up, it will be easier to offload him in the summer. But I think there's even less chance of that happening now, if I was going to be honest with you. I don't think Ugarte is going anywhere. I know there's rumours. There was talk of us loading out Ugarte and bringing in Ruben Neves. United have monitored Ruben Neves. They've had talks with Ruben Neves. But United don't want to do short-term deals, and they don't see Ruben Neves as a long-term option. I think Ruben Neves helps us on the technical side of things, maybe not physical side of things. But I think we're better off doing Ruben Neves than nothing in January. The main midfield target is, as we've been told a million times, at Anderson, Baleba and Wharton. I still think if we really pushed for Baleba, we could get him in January. We don't want to spend that kind of money, which I get because he's not in the best form. But I'm like, if you're ambitious, if top four's the aim, if you see that Chelsea have fallen off, Liverpool have fallen off, and there's a really good opportunity to get top four, I think you would get Baleba, because I think the next manager that comes in, no matter who it is probably going to say yes to Baleba. It's not one of those players that's a specialist that only said manager would want. I get like United, like they're less likely to spend because they don't know who's coming in, but whoever comes in would use Baleba, would use Anderson. Like, I get United not wanting to sign maybe a specialist wing back if we're planning to sign a manager that plays a back four. But yeah, anyway, Maino's like to stay, Ugarte's like to stay. But there is a lot of talk about Ugarte leaving, and I think Ugarte is going to be forced out. So we know that Man United have already planned internally that Ugarte can go in 2026. They talked about loaning him out. That is not the case now. I said this about Onana and Højlund about March time last year. I said United's plan is to get rid of them. United's plan is to sign 2-3 midfielders and tell Ugarte he's not going to play, so Ugarte leaves. We signed Sesko, Højlund finally left. We signed Le Mans, Onana finally left. Højlund and Onana wouldn't leave originally. Ugarte, I think, actually wants to leave himself now because he doesn't like the lack of minutes. Man United's plan, and I'm going to say this now, Ugarte's actually played alright the last 2 games. I'll give him that credit. United's plan is to sign midfielders to force Ugarte out. They've already decided internally they don't think he's good enough. Anyway, let's dive into the next story. Michael Carrick is a fantastic player. It doesn't matter who's in charge. The problems at United are to do with the ownership model, the Glazers and anything else. Unless that changes, nothing's going to change. I agree. Ruben Amorim was poor. Ruben Amorim wasn't doing a great job. And Ruben Amorim, based off results, probably deserved to be sacked. But changing Ruben Amorim for Michael Carrick is not miraculously going to fix us or solve all our issues. We know that we need certain profiles on the pitch that those at the top of the club are not buying. It doesn't matter who we bring in as the next manager. If those at the top of the club don't fix up, they're going to struggle. They may do a better job than Ruben Amorim. Ten Hag did a better job than Amorim. Oli did a better job than Amorim. Mourinho did a better job than Amorim. But they won't ever be truly successful until those at the top of the club are out. And that's one thing we've got to remember. Now, we're actually doing a little thing with the 1958. The 1958 ex-United fan base, hashtag Man United is broken, talks about the mismanagement of the club. And on February 1st, Manchester United welcomed Fulham to Old Trafford, and the 1958 march will begin. So there is a protest up in Manchester on the 1st of February. There's a lot of detail about that on Twitter, by the way, for anyone interested in getting involved. Spread the message, get the Glazers out. Let's talk about Nagelsmann. Julian Nagelsmann is interested in taking the Manchester United job if he decides to return to club management this summer. Nagelsmann is focusing on the World Cup at the moment, but he views the manager's role as an attractive proposition for the future. Then there's a sports PO. I don't think he's the best source of information. I don't think he's the most reliable source of information. But there is talk of Nagelsmann being open to the Man United job after the World Cup. I like Nagelsmann. My only worry is Rangnick tries to come in, do something completely different, gegenpressing, high pressing, didn't work for us. Could that be a similar story at Nagelsmann? I think Nagelsmann is one of those managers that could work, but we need a lot more time than other managers. And I think if we don't get Europe this season, then we bring in a manager that maybe doesn't get Europe the following season, then you're looking at a lot of time out of Europe. But I like Nagelsmann. Like, I'm not saying no to him. I think he's an elite manager. I think there's a fear of whoever we bring in actually as a Man United fan just because of this ownership. I'm worried that I feel like we could bring Pep Guardiola in and I'd be worried with this ownership. But Nagelsmann is keeping an eye on the Man United job. Apparently Nagelsmann has some interest. Obviously all his focus on the World Cup, but he could move to United after. The only issue is if he moves to us after the World Cup, there's less pre-season, there's less time with the players, there's less time to prepare. I mean, I think that's the only downside. It was also said by Sports PO that United are potentially moving away from Glasner due to his poor form at Palace. I think we should avoid Glasner and Iriola. I think we'd be making the same mistake twice if we went for them. And last but not least, it was said by Ben Jacobs this. Exclusive. Barcelona held a meeting this month with United to explore options for Rashford permanently. Barca do not want to trigger the €30 million buy option, which is £26 million, and instead of sounding out Man United a lower number and floated the idea of a second loan. Rashford intent on staying at the Camp Nou, and Barcelona want to keep him. Further talks expected to finish near the end of the season. If Man United had loaned a player from Barcelona and that player had been pretty good for us, and Barcelona want us to pay 26 million, and we went, no, 15 million, 17 million, or can we try loan him again? We'd all be fuming as a fan base saying, what do you mean? Rashford is willing to lower his wages to go to Barcelona. Rashford is the same age as Eze. Eze went for £67 million to Arsenal. I'm just saying this now. Look, I don't think we should bring Rashford back because I think his love for the club is gone, and I think his heart has to be there, and I don't think his heart's at Man United. But now we're going back to a 4-3-3. We need a left winger. I'm saying if you don't give us 26 million for Rashford, we'll keep him or someone else will. Why would we, when we desperately need a left winger and all the good left wingers are 60, 70 million out there and we need to spend a lot of money on midfield, say, yeah, you can have Rashford on loan for another year? I think, honestly, we'd probably tell Barcelona, F that. If you don't pay us 26 million, someone else will. If it was a 50 million buy option for Rashford, I get it. But I honestly think 26 million was too low. I think we should have had a 40 million buy option for Rashford. So I think it's nuts. I think if it was Manchester City, Barcelona would have paid the 26 million and they wouldn't even be trying another loan. I'm going to tell you that for a fact. Thank you for watching. Bye.